Hi Flosstube, this is Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher. I'm back for another cross-stitching update. It's been 2 weeks since my last video and I have a lot to show. I have a lot of FFOs and a lot of finishes. Well, I have a few finishes. And one new start. So I think I just want to dive right in. I will start with my FFOs, I think. I have 4. Okay, sorry, I knocked the camera, I think. Okay, so my first fully finished item is Shepherd's Bush, a full heart. And I originally was going to leave it to be framed at Michael's because it's round. And I was like, maybe we can do a square frame and like a round mat or something. But I brought the project with me to Michael's along with like a whole bag of them and was kind of sticking them on the frames, seeing what would work. And this one actually was perfect. I was really excited because I really wanted to have it framed and I was able to do it myself. I just pinned it onto some foam board and then it had a back already with the frame. So I love the way that it's turned out. It's exactly as I was imagining in my head. I love it so much. It's beautiful. It's just like whimsical and happy. I don't know. And so this, I had to take off my mantle because I've been keeping it on my mantle, like by my TV. And I love seeing it every single day. It makes me so happy. So that was the first one. I don't know how to stack these. Second, and these are all ones that I did myself. So I framed all of these finishes. This one is Go Tell It on the Mountain from Heartstring Samplery. It was a Jingle Ball exclusive for 2024. And I framed it in this kind of deep, shadow boxy almost wood frame, and I'm obsessed. No, it's not perfect. Linen is very hard to get perfect on a mat board, and I don't consider myself a perfectionist when it comes to like things that are tedious like this, which is funny because I cross stitch, which is a tedious hobby. But so it's not like, it's not perfect. I can tell it's not perfectly even, but the linen is hard to get perfectly straight. I'm just so happy. Oh, and it's got the back that came with the frame. So I'm just so happy to have it finished and I love it. I can't wait to display it later this winter. Okay, I can, because I don't want winter to come, but I'll be very happy when I can display this. For now, it sits on my bookshelf in my craft room, and when I walk by the room, I get to see it, and I love it. Okay, the next one I finished, I don't know if I want to show you the back. It is so redneck. It's okay. Is Cat's Bakery from Soda Stitch, and I finished it in a frame that I thrifted when I went shopping at thrift stores for frames a couple months ago. And this is how it turned out. I'm gonna get it all in the frame. This frame was absolutely perfection in size, and I thought that the color worked great. And I found this frame and I was like, I have no idea what I'll put in there, but I'm sure something will come to mind. And I had to choose between Cat's Bakery and Puppy Bakery, and I love them both so much, but my son has been begging for a cross-stitched piece to go in his room, and he loves cats. And I know that when I was stitching this one, he loved it so much. Every time a new cat appeared, he would get very happy. He loves all the cute and cuddly things. So he's going to have this put in his room, and he is very, very excited. I told him he had to wait until I showed it on my video, and then I would hang it in his room. So I'll see if I can get a little. So this one I did not pin because it's so long. I didn't want to bother with the whole pinning thing. So I used sticky board, and I think it looks great. You can't tell that it's sticky board. It's solid in there. So this frame did not come with a back because it was a custom frame that I took from a thrift store and took what was in it out. So it did not have a back like the others. So the sticky board is thinner than foam board. So I had to come up with a way to make it tight in here. So I cut a piece of cardboard fit to size and just shoved it in there, and it really held pretty tight. And then I taped. But hey, it's going on the wall. No one sees the back. So there's my third finish, or fully finish. And then the last one is a frame that I got at Michael's, because Michael's, I think it was last weekend, maybe it was the weekend before, is still having, so it might have been last weekend, is having buy one, get one free on their frames on the floor. So I got some pretty good deals. This frame was actually free because of another frame that I bought. And this finished piece is the Tiny Modernist. It was a stitch along. I think it's called Santa's House. And I finished it a few years ago. And there it is. I love it. I am completely obsessed with the way this turned out. I couldn't have found a more perfect frame. I originally went in thinking I'm gonna find a red frame, or if I can't find one in the store, I'll like order on Amazon, because they had a whole bunch of red frames, because I was originally thinking red. And then I saw this on the shelf, and the colors, it just made the colors pop, and I was like, that's it, that's the one. And my kids are obsessed with this one. They come upstairs and like look at it and point out all the fun little things in it all the time. They love it. So we are all very excited to be able to display this one later this year too. And I'm so happy to have another piece that I love out of my box and ready to be used and loved. You love it. Okay, so that's my last fully finished item, and I do have 2 finishes. So the first finish I had, and I don't know if you guys ever even saw this whip, because it was my car project. So it literally was in my car for since August last year, and I did not stitch on it like at all. I had, oh, and the project is Shepherd's Bush Fear Not. I bought this, not gonna focus. I bought this as a kit when I went to Stitch West, I think 3 years ago, actually. Wow. And I just had never started it. And so when I pulled it out last weekend, I had the house and the pumpkins done, and that was it. And I started stitching it. I was like, you know what? This is not very big. I could finish this. So I finished it in a day. That's how quickly it went. And I stitched this with all the called for Shepherd's Bush, they kitted it for me. So they just cut the strands that I needed. And they put in a 32 count, what's this fabric? Oh, I don't know what this fabric is. It's just like a raw natural linen. What's white art. So the backstitch border was so much fun. I loved doing that, especially those pumpkins on the bottom. I loved it. And I love the bones and the sheep with his little hat. And then the only specialty stitch was the straight stitches here in the flowers next to the house. But I just love it. And it's an odd size, so framing it will be interesting. We'll see. Maybe I'll do like a flat fold or something, learn how to do that. And then my second finish was a very unexpected finish. I pulled this out on Friday last week. Friday after I last filmed. So maybe it was almost 2 weeks ago. And I pulled it out because the ladies I was stitching this with, 2 of them had finished it. And I was like, that is not fair. I cannot be this far behind. So I pulled it out and I was determined to finish it. And I finished it I didn't stitch on it solid for a week, but I finished it on last weekend. So how many days was that? I don't remember. It really didn't take me very long. 4 days of stitching maybe. And that is my Victoria's Sampler Pumpkin Patch Farm. And I was stitching this with a group of ladies that call themselves the Sal Queens. I tagged them all in the post of this. The group was rather large near the end there. But Pam and Tina finished it first, and I was like, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. I had so much fun with this piece. I learned a bunch of new stitches, and at times it really hurt my brain. I had a headache 2 days after working on this. Like after 2 of the days, I had a headache because it was just like a lot of focus and a lot of concentration. So when you saw it last, I had finished this pumpkin grove. So when I picked it up, I started right here at this row with the chickens and the cat. It looks like a cat. It's in the pattern, they said it was a cat, but to me it looks like a squirrel, whatever. So I picked it up right here. And so I did the row, all of this to finish it. And the specialty stitches were so much fun. Let me think. I cannot remember what they were called. So this was a herringbone, a double herringbone. That was probably my favorite one. So you do one long leg herringbone, and then you do a shorter one that kind of overlaps. Oh, it was so much fun. And then this one down here was like a reverse herringbone is what they called it. I don't know. These were kind of fun too. They took kind of a long time. The last block has so much over one stitching. I almost died. All of these leaves are over one. And then all of these leaves down here are also over one. And then all of these words are over one. So that's where my headache came from. But I stitched this on 32 Can't Picture This plus Heartland. And I'm so happy to have it done. I can't wait to get it framed and displayed this fall. It's one I've admired from Victoria's Sampler for a really long time. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Okay, so now, let me clear my space here. Now I'll go into my whips. One of the whips I worked on for Santa Sunday. So there was only one Santa Sunday that I actually worked on a Christmas themed whip because my time was really being taken over by these finishes I really wanted to get done. So the progress to show on this is pretty pathetic. But it was, I pulled out Christmas at Hollyberry Farm from Stacy Nash. And I'm stitching this on 40 count X-Jude Designs. Old Mushroom? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Something mushroom. Anyways, there it is. All I did was fill in this house bottom. Like, there was like a few rows I hadn't done in here. And I filled in this window and one of these other windows. So that's all I did on that. Nothing mind-blowing. And then, and then for Wicked Wednesday, I pulled out my Praiseworthy Stitches Sale at the Bubbling Cauldron. And I'm really happy with the progress I got on this. And this was just one day of stitching. Like, these stitch up really quickly. So that's where I am now. When I picked it up, I had done the cat and this bucket, but I hadn't done any of the back stitching in it. So I back stitched all the brooms in it. They're not very good. I back stitched all the brooms in it. And then I did this entire wagon with all these pots, and I did these 2 girls. And then I filled all of this in because only the window was half done. Nothing was done beneath it. So I filled in the window, and I did, these will be like bottles on this table, and there's a basket under here that has some backstitched things. So I'm really, really happy with the progress on that. It goes really quick when you get like in a groove on it. It's not a very big project. Like if you look at those praiseworthy houses and you're like, those things are massive. There are some that are not so big. A lot of them are really big, but there are a few. Mr. Bones Starlight Ballroom is not as big as like Widow Black B&B or Mummy Moonlit Cafe, or even like Croaking Toad Manor, I think is what it's called. There are some smaller ones, so keep that in mind. Okay, and then I had a new start because I was like getting burned out of just, I was really motivated to get some finishes, but like working on the same, it was 2 or 3 projects, like feeling like rushed. I don't know. I get to the point when when I know it's close that I can't stop. I'm a dog with a bone. Like I can't stop until it's done. And sometimes that can be really like burn you out. So when I had finished the Victoria Sampler, I was so burnt out. My brain hurt. No, it wasn't that one. It was Fear Not. When I finished that, I'd been working on that for like 2 days. I was like, I'm tired. I want like something fun and bright and spring. And this one has been staring at me. Oh, there's a pin needle in it. Oops. This one has been staring at me for weeks because I've had it kitted for weeks. And that is the Artsy Housewife Coffee and Eggs. I bought this pattern like forever ago. And so I was like, you know what? It is all ready to go. It might as well be a whip. So I started it and I'm stitching it on 40 count XG Designs Grandma's Slip. And so there's the fabric. It's glorious. And so I just have started right in the middle. So this plant is the plant that goes down into the coffee pot and holds up the chicken. So I got the mug, I think it's all the way filled in. Yeah, so I got the mug filled in. I just need to put the coffee in it. And then I was going on with little flowers. This was just one day, one afternoon, not even very long stitching. I just wanted something bright and not goal oriented. And then my last project I stitched on was when I finished the Victoria Sampler. I was so burnt out. My brain hurt. I didn't want to stitch on anything because I was just, my brain just was tired. And so I pulled out, find the cover photo, Hello Spring, which is a project I started at Stitch West. And it's with a needle and thread. And I'm stitching this on 32 count with 1 strand over 2 threads. So that, because that's how Shepherd's Bush stitches all of their patterns. And I love the look and I wanted to have another project that looked like that. So this is my progress on it. I hope that's not like see-through. Oh, geez. What can we do here? Okay, you're gonna see the ghosties through the back. I'm stitching this on 32 count. I don't know, buttermilk or something like that from Live and Die LA. So this is where I am on it. It's so cute. I am loving the way that it's looking on this 32 count. So when I picked it up, I extended the border all the way up and went over and I did these quilt stars. I did this butterfly and all these letters, and then I did this whole wreath because I'd had the bird nest done. Oh, and I did the back stitching in the bird nest and the eggs. So I did basically this whole thing. And these 2 little dots will be bees once I get the Lazy Daisies on. Oh, and then I did the N. I started the steps and I extended the border this way. So this is as far as it goes. So obviously this is bigger than the pattern intended for finishing. So I will not be finishing it in a pillow because I just think it's too big for a pillow. So I'm going to find a little, I think it'll fit in a 5x7, maybe. We'll see. So I'll probably frame it, but I love this one. It is just such an easy, I just love how delicate it looks on this 32/1 or with 1 strand. It looks so delicate. I love it. And 1 whip you will notice is absent from this pile, and that is because I was really, really hoping to have it finished by the time I did this video, and it's not done. I have 1 motif left, 1 little tiny motif left, and I couldn't bear to show it on here knowing that it's like 99% done, but not done. So I'm not showing it. And it's Huckleberry Sampler, Huckleberry Farm. That's another project the last 2 weeks I have just been going hard on trying to get it done because I really, really want it up for summer. So it's almost done. It's so close. I was like, I have so much to show that I want to show. I'll show it in the next video when it'll be finished. So in my next video, come back because I will show my finish, Huckleberry Farm, and then I'm going to take it to the framer. Oh man, that means I have to wait 2 weeks to take it to the framer. We'll see. Anyways, it's got one motif left and I didn't want to show it because I wanted it to be a big surprise. So that's all my whips, my finishes, and my fully finishes. I will go into some plans. So over the next 2 weeks, I do have one planned new start. And I'm going to start it on Mother's Day. And I don't have the physical copy of this because I bought the PDF, but it is Consider the Lilies from Heartstring Samplery. I was going to start this at Stitch West. It just didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. But that's fine because I'm going to start it for Mother's Day. I'm stitching it on 40 count baby sheep from XG Designs. Yes, this is a fat half. And I'm stitching it with the Vicki Clayton silks. And I've decided that I need to pull this out so I can continue, or so I can get all of my silks on a floss drop. So my other silks that I used for, what's it called? Winter Rose Manor, I kept on the spool and they were really annoying. I did not like bothering with the spools. I felt like it slowed me down, even though I'm sure it didn't. I felt like it did. So I'm going to be putting these on drops. And then I have a thread book here that I will like close the thread book over them so they're not like flopping and flying all around in my bag. So they won't get all like fuzzy and gross. So Consider the Lilies is my for sure planned start in the next 2 weeks. Because Mother's Day is on Sunday. So I'm going to start it on Sunday. I'm very excited. Very excited. I'm not sure which corner I'm going to start in. I'm normally a bottom left corner because I love stitching up. I feel like all my projects start in the bottom left and that's where all the grass is. So I might start in the top, even though I don't want to. We'll see. Maybe I'll just skip some of the grass and just do border. Because if you've seen the patterns, there's a billion motifs. There's always something to do. So we'll see. Another possible new start is my table gifts that I'm planning to do for my table mates at Acorns and Threads. I'd like to get those started and like finished sooner rather than later. And then I also would like to start my Smalls Exchange project for Acorns and Threads. And I forgot my iPad, so I can't show you them. So if I start those, you'll see them next week. I just need to kit them up and get them going. They won't take me very long. The small is like less than 60 by 60. It's like 55 by 54. And then the table gifts are tiny. So shouldn't take me too long. So those are the plans I really have. I'd like to get back to some more spring themed projects, but I do like making sure that I do Wicked Wednesday or Witchy Wednesday, whatever you want to call it, and Santa Sunday, because it forces my seasonal whips to kind of stay fresh. I know that this Friday, Fall Friday, that's the other one I like to do. That's when I pulled out Victoria Sampler. So my next project for Fall Friday is going to be, I have it right here. I've decided I'm going to pull out my Feast of Friendship, which is a project that I started with Bernadette and she just blew me out of the water with it, stitched it in like 1 second. So this is where I am on that. I just got the big house left and some more border things. So knowing how I am, this might be a finish next time too. because it's very close. It's just got that house and border left. So, TBD. And now that I'm going to be starting Consider the Lilies on Sunday, I'm going to keep Consider the Lilies as my Sunday stitch. So that means my Santa Sunday will now need to be moved to another day of the week. I'm thinking Merry Monday because I don't have a plan for Mondays. It used to be Mira Monday, but my Miras are in a hibernation right now because I'm just not in my Mira era at the moment. And that's okay. That's okay. It'll come back. It'll come back around. So if that saddens you, I'm sorry. But I just cannot stitch on things I'm not vibing with at the moment. I love my Mira whips. They're not going anywhere. They're just sitting to the side for the moment. So I'm thinking I'll turn it to Merry Monday. So I have a winter Christmas one, a Halloween one, because I've got a lot of Halloween whips and fall whips, and then Fall Friday, and then Sunday for Consider the Lilies. So those are my only real plans. I will do some haul now. So of course I've got a little bit of haul. So my first piece of haul is my Fabric of the Month Club from Corinne. Grace Notes. The tag is right here. Get it together. Goodness. And I am, so this was 36 count, but I changed to 40 count, and I think she said it would take effect May. So this is my last 36 count in their club, and this one is called Buttercup, and it's a very sunshiny, buttery yellow. It's almost got like a kind of a greenish undertone, but it's very yellow. Very pretty. I'm not a big yellow person, but this is pretty. I don't know, what would, something fall theme maybe? And then I bought some quilting fabric from Kitten Stitcher. She had a lot in the $5 deals section of her page. And so I got some quilting fabric from her, and I was like, I'm just gonna look real quick. And she still had a few pieces of the X-Shued Design 46 count in the $30 bin. So I got one. It's 46 count X-Shued Designs Light Nougat. Oh, I don't have it right here. Where'd it go? Oh, it's hanging up. Okay, do you see this right here? That is my Winter Rose Manor. And supposedly that fabric was labeled Light Nougat. But do you see how dark it is? I know it's kind of in the corner, but it is dark. This is also called Light Nougat. So I'm thinking that was mislabeled and was just supposed to be, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but this is what Light Nougat is, which is much lighter, much lighter. So don't know what that is, but this is Light Nougat. So I'm very happy to add that to my stash. And then I got two charts. One chart I was 100% enabled by Lauren, the New Hampshire stitcher, as I always am. And that chart is the 3 Things sampler from, oh, weird. We never get sirens here. Anyways, the 3 Things sampler from Moira Blackburn. She's stitching it right now with the Vicki Clayton silks, and I die. I will also be stitching this with the Vicki Clayton silks someday. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous sampler. Borders galore, but they're all different and they're all fun. And then because I ordered these off of Garibaldi's Needlework on Etsy, they were having them on sale, plus you would get an additional percentage off for 2 things, I think is how it worked. So I also saw this chart, which is called a Keep Me sampler from Moira Blackburn. And my heart stopped. Look at the willow, first of all. Look at the little critters. Look at the minimal grass, okay? I want you to see minimal grass. That's the key here. And look at this dainty, delicate border and the checkered roof. everything about this, the girl in the garden, everything about this I love so much. Every piece of it. And so, I love it. And it's big, 247 by 247. Woo! So this is going to be my back to school sale start for this year. Back to school was started by Lauren and somebody else. And they started this hashtag back to school. And you start a BAP, obviously, a big ass project for back to school. And this is going to be mine this year. And I emailed Hannah at Evertote to help me with a Roxy Floss conversion because I really want to try Roxy Flosses and their 8-yard skeins. And I love that. I love that. So she got me secured with a gorgeous Roxy Floss conversion for this. And it is purchased and it's on its way to me to be in my hot little hands so I can stare at it all the way until September. So I'm using this as my back to school sale and also when my birthday starts because it's the same week. I'm extremely, extremely excited. I'm definitely stitching it on 46 count. I even thought maybe this 46 count. The White House would look really good on that. Hee hee hee, we might have our fabric already. Excellent. And then the last piece of my haul was thread. I went a little crazy on Color & Cotton's website and I just wanted more of their thread. I love their thread and I haven't been in the club in years and I haven't bought specifically their thread in years, but I love it. I love their threads. So I went a little crazy and I got a whole bunch of thread just for my stash. And I've already used 2 of them for a project. So like, I'm getting my use out of them. Do you want me to go through each one? I could go through each one. This is Crumb Cake. Chestnuts Roasting. Wow, am I gonna show you colors that look almost identical? No, look how different they are. Stop it. Cider. Winter Spruce. Peanuts. Eggnog. Gnome. If you're sensing a theme here, I got a lot of fall colors because I feel like samplers use so many fall colors. And I love fall colors, so I got mostly fall colors. What's this? Cozy Sweater. Storybook. Rustling Leaves. This one's a special edition, fancy. Hallows Eve. Special edition, Wren. Oh, another special edition. Oh my gosh, how many of these are special edition? A lot of them are. Pumpkin Spice. I'm on the wait list to get into this thread club. I hope I can get in someday. Fairy. Winterberry. Macrame. Snowflake. Lily Pad. Burlap. Winter Flannel. And Seahorse. This one reminded me of like Peapod or something. And then there are 2 other colors I got. I'm actually using them in Coffee and Eggs. So this pink is a Color & Cotton I got. It's called Bunny Nose. And this green, the dark green, is called Emerald. And it is almost a perfect match for steamed broccoli from Classic Colorworks. So that's my haul. Not too crazy. So now I'll just go into some life stuff. So yeah, the rest of my haul was just quilting fabric for bags. I'm planning on making some bags and posting them on my Instagram again, but I will let you know here first when I plan to do that. So stitching stuff is over. Yes. Life. What have we been doing the last 2 weeks? Well, the weather has been extremely manic. I can't make sense of it. It's just Idaho spring. One day it is 75 degrees and gorgeous, and we spend the entire day outside playing in the yard and doing yard work and landscaping. And then for the next 5 days, there's like snow and ice and hail. And like today it is black clouds, cold, windy, rainy. But Saturday was 70 degrees. Oh, but I woke up to snow the other day too. So, you know, we're just taking the good days when we can. It's wreaking havoc on our allergies though, I'll tell you what. I'm so sick of blowing my nose. And I don't even really have bad allergies. It's just the constant changing of the temperature. It's killing me. So we've been working on our yard quite a bit. Every weekend, the last 2 weekends, we have gone to our favorite nursery and gotten different bushes and plants, and we've gotten a bunch of trees, and we're planting them all in our backyard. And I do plan to show pictures here once we've got them like actually in the ground. Right now I just have, so what we did was the back of our house is all windows, and then the air conditioner, like great, and the patio. So I don't know what they were thinking of the air conditioner. It's right under the window, and it's loud and it's stupid and I hate it. I like it in the summer because it's useful, but it's ugly to look at. So what we did was we dug out, and when I say we, I mean my husband. There was no we here. There was me directing and my husband laboring. So he dug out all the grass between the patio and the air conditioner and around the air conditioner. Dug out all the grass there and leveled it. And there's a window well right there too, next to the air conditioner. And then I picked out a whole bunch of amazing, awesome, gorgeous bushes and like flowering bushes and things that we are going to plant all in there to cover the air conditioner and block the window well and make it pretty on that side of the patio. And then I also directed my husband on the other side of the patio to dig it out all along the side of the house. And we have a giant arbor vitae tree that we're going to put on the one side, and it'll block our entire patio. Like, it's not even that big, but it'll block our patio from the one, like the neighbor's kitchen window, looks straight into our patio. So it'll totally block that off, which is our goal. And then I got some other bushes to put next to it. And then we replanted some dogwood bushes that we had along the side of the house because it's really marshy and wet and shady over there. So they'll do great right there. And then he had to dig up a couple of trees that we couldn't have in that spot anymore and replant them along the new fence. So now we'll have poplars growing along the side of the fence to block out all of the neighbors' windows eventually. And then we replanted in the spot in the 2 back corners of the yard. We got 15-foot. They were huge, 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 huge. They're called a skyline honey locust. They're literally 15 feet tall. Like, we couldn't even shut the back of the truck because they were so long. And he planted those in the corners of the yard to grow up, and they're like a light filtering, so their grass will be unaffected underneath. So I am so happy when I look out there and see those giant trees and all my colorful, beautiful bushes that will soon be in the ground. He couldn't put them in the ground, all of them in the ground. He did some, but he couldn't put all of them in the ground over this past weekend because the weather. By the time he finished planting 4 trees last weekend, he was just tired on Saturday, the one nice day we had. And so he was like, I'll do them tomorrow. And then the next day was just dumping rain all day long. And so they're just sitting out there in pots. It's fine. They're getting watered. And you just got to do like drip line through the beds before we want to put them in the ground. And we got to put weed stop down and all that loveliness. But I'm very excited. It's bringing us a lot of joy. The kids are just going through school. Parker was supposed to have a field trip today, but it got canceled because of weather. So that's moved to next week. And then my son's is also next week. And then next week is recital, dance recital. And then we're done with dance until September, which is wild. We had tryouts for team, but that's, so we have recital. We have recital next weekend, and then it's usually the next week that there's tryouts for team. So we have that, and then find out if she makes it or not. And then we have the summer off of dance. It'll be nice to have a break. She's really excited for recital though. I have to buy tickets for that tomorrow. Don't forget. So we've got that. My son he's been in therapy since he was 3. Because I think I mentioned on here, he is autistic. So he's been in therapies since he was 3. And he is 9 now. And he's just tired. He is so tired. He works so hard just to be normal in a normal classroom with his peers his age, and he does so much extra therapies and works on top of school. He's just burnt out. He's exhausted. And so we are going to take a break from one of his therapies. He's going to keep going to speech because that one is, I don't know. I feel like that one's been more beneficial. Both are beneficial, obviously, but he's seeing more benefits now as he's getting older by continuing to be in speech. But his occupational therapy, which he's been in since he was 3, I'm just not seeing the benefits as much anymore. And I think it just means we need a break. He's been doing it for 6 years. He is just tired. He's a tired little guy. So I promised him that April could be his last month for at least the summer. When he goes back to school, he sees an occupational therapist at the school. So this is all just our private therapy we do outside of school. I told him he could be done with that for a while, and we'll see how it goes over the summer, just taking a break, and then we get back to school and reevaluate and see where he's at. He's very, very excited to have a break from that. It's not his favorite. It's not his favorite thing. He's such a good sport. He's really excited to have a break over the summer for it. And then Brody's just almost 3. Busy, busy, busy. Constantly wants to be outside. Doesn't matter if it's freezing. So that's fun. Luckily, her siblings also like to be outside, even if it's freezing. So they just take her, and our backyard is fenced now. So they just go in the back and play. And it's fine by me. Haven't had any adventures in baking. I've had a few failures in baking. But who wants to talk about their failures? Shows I've been watching. Okay, so I did watch an Amazon show that I have seen before, but I thought I'd mention on here because it is such a funny show. It's called Fleabag on Amazon Prime. I don't know the characters, like I don't know the actors' names, but it's such an interesting show. It's one of those where you feel like you're part of the group because the main girl like disassociates from like, and then looks to you like you're a real person sitting there. I don't know. It's just so good. It's really funny. And it's only 2 seasons, I think. 2, yeah. And then I also watched Godless, which is a series on Netflix. It has, oh my gosh, what is her name? It was just on the tip of my tongue. She played Mary Crawley in Downton Abbey. And the one guy, gosh, what is his name? He's from Lady Chatterley's Lover. Anyways, those 2. And then Jeff, the guy from Dumb and Dumber. What's his name? Jeff Daniels is the evil guy in it, which if you haven't seen that show, it's only 1 season. It's a limited series. I've seen it before years and years ago when it originally came out, and I just watched it again. It is such a good show. Very fascinating, like to hear kind of the history of the villain main character. He was a victim of the Mormon Meadow Massacre. And so the Mormons that committed that massacre like adopted him, and it was back when like polygamy was the thing, and so he was adopted into a family that was like 4 wives and one dad, and he was raised as a Mormon in a polygamist Mormon family. And so hearing him kind of use Book of Mormon like scripture and Bible scripture and stuff to justify like these evil things he's doing. Coupled with sometimes he does things that aren't evil purely just to do them. I don't know. He's a very complex, interesting character. And I really enjoyed the show, and I think you would too. If you like Westerns. I love Westerns. So, and then we watched a movie called The Outlaw King, and it's got Chris Pine and, oh my gosh, what's his name? My brain today with names is not working. Florence Pugh, isn't it? She's one of my favorites. But it's basically about Robert the Bruce around the time of William Wallace. If you've ever seen Braveheart, William Wallace was captured because he was betrayed by Robert the Bruce, captured and then, you know, hung, tortured, quartered, all of that. And then his head was sent somewhere, and the quarters of his body was sent in places to hang in the local square to like deter other rebels and other Scots people from rising up. And that's actually what spurned Robert the Bruce to fight for Scotland and turn against England. And so this movie kind of picks up about that time. William Wallace was alive at the very beginning of the movie, but we didn't see him. He wasn't involved. And then you just see like a quarter of him hanging, and that's, so you know he's dead. And that's when you see Robert the Bruce is like, he takes over from there. And it's just following his story and him and his wife. It was so good. I don't know how I'd never seen this movie. It's not new. I'm not a Chris Pine fan, so maybe that's what it was. I thought he did well in this part. But Braveheart is one of my all-time favorite movies in the world. And so to have kind of a continuation on that, and Florence Pugh, who was made to be in costumes in this movie, it was just really, 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 really good. And it's definitely one that I will watch many times in the future. And we really, really loved it. And that's on Netflix too. And then yesterday I watched Jane Eyre with Michael Fassbender, and I can't remember the girl's name. She's from Alice in Wonderland, the live action ones. I've seen it a billion times. I own the DVD. Like, it's one I've watched so many times. And I just want a comfort show like Pride and Prejudice or Jane Eyre or, you know, Becoming Jane, like any of those. Lord of the Rings, like it's always the same ones. And it's been a while since I watched that one. So I watched that. And then we watched a movie over the weekend that Netflix had as like number 3 in movies today. And so we were like, it's got to be, you know, decent. It's got Matt Damon in it, and Pedro Pascal. And so it's called The Great Wall. And it was so bad. It was so bad. Do not recommend unless you want to watch Matt Damon pretending to be Matt Damon in ancient China. Because I don't know what it is about Matt Damon. He cannot be a character. Like, it's like, this is just Matt Damon, like, being in a different time period. It's just Matt Damon. Like, I don't know. Ugh. It was so bad, though. I was disappointed in Pedro Pascal for being in this movie. It had to be before he got really big. And I think it was like 2016 or something. Terrible. The whole time we were like, is this a joke? Like, is this like a comedy? Is this a spoof of a movie? But like, no, they were deadly serious. But wow, don't recommend that one. If you love it, I won't say anymore. So those were the shows I can think of off the top of my head. I started watching The Tudors with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Natalie Dormer and Henry Cavill. And it's, man, it could have been so good. But I don't think Jonathan Rhys-Meyers was the right Henry VIII. He is a theater actor, very much a theater actor. And when you have a theater actor being a theater actor around actors and actresses who are film actors and actresses like Natalie Dormer and Henry Cavill, it just feels ridiculous. Everything that Jonathan Rhys-Meyers did was ridiculous. His facial expressions, it's like he thinks that he's performing on a stage. It did not translate well. to camera. But I still watched it because it's like, you know, one of my favorite time periods to learn about. And then I went on, so I hadn't finished the first season again, and I was like 2 episodes left of it. I went to go watch it, and Amazon Prime had removed it. So I had to find a new show. Right now I'm rewatching The Witcher. I might rewatch Poldark. I feel that coming on. I really love Poldark. And you guys have all given me amazing suggestions. I just don't know what I'm in the mood for. One thing I did want to ask about on here is, I usually use Bowen size 28 needles. Those are my favorite, like, go-to needle. But sometimes I feel like they're too thick for 46 count. So I would love some suggestions on a super thin, I don't like petites because they're too short. I like the length of them. Like a super, super thin needle for 46 count. Like, I would love some suggestions. I don't like them crazy sharp, like the Pat's, my favorite needle. Those are too sharp for me. Bowens are perfect. So like this needle, I don't know what it is because it was in my Bowen pouch, but my other Bowen 28s don't feel this thin. So I love this needle, but I'm like, what the heck is it? I don't know what it is. So any suggestions will be gladly appreciated. And that is all I have to show and talk about today. I kind of rambled on a bit there at the end with the TV, but I really love movies and TV shows. So if you made it this far, you are the GOAT. And I will catch you on the next one. And I hope you get all the stitching done that you want in the next 2 weeks. Bye.